Hi, my name is Kathleen Werstein, better known as Kathy, and I am the author of Guiding Kathy, A True Story. I welcome you to Chapter 4 of my book, I Had Been Warned. After my divorce, I moved in with my parents. They were managing an apartment building in Venice Beach, California, and they were living in a 2-bedroom apartment. So, fortunately, they did have 2 bedrooms, and I moved into one of them. And I continued being a bank teller, but I did move from one branch to another to be closer to where I was then living in Venice Beach. The only problem was then is that I didn't have a car. So I took my father's car one day, went down to a car lot in Santa Monica, and I found a car that I liked, and the salesman took me for a trial drive in it. And when we came back, we talked in his office about the car and what my payments would be, and he asked me all kinds of questions. Where do I live? Where do I work? Blah, blah, blah. It was more like a credit kind of checklist that he had in his mind. And then the last question he asked, would you be available for a date sometime? Well, I wasn't expecting that last question, but I thought it over, and well, yes. So after leaving the car lot, I came back to home with my parents, and I gave them the good news. I said, hey, guess what, I got a car. And they said, oh great, what kind is it? And I told them all about it. And then I said, and by the way, the salesman comes with it too. So my mother was going, what? And she said, tell me more about this. So I told her exactly what happened at the car lot, and she said, well, how about on your first date that we get to meet him? And I said, okay, fine. So he did call. His name was Bob. Bob did call about 2 weeks later. He did ask me for a date, and I said, by the way, would it be okay with you if you come over to where I live? My parents would like to meet you. And he said, okay, sure, no problem. So he came over. More details about that dinner are in my book. And about a week later, after that episode that we had during dinner, he called me up for another date. And this time we went out by ourselves. We went to a seafood restaurant, and we were talking, and we were getting along really well. I enjoyed myself. He enjoyed himself. After the date, I came home, and it was within a week's time after that date, I had one of those dreams again. And I didn't understand. I never understand these dreams when they're happening, because it means something later on. Okay, so the next time he called me up for a date, we again went to another seafood restaurant. It was in Santa Monica, so right by the ocean. And we were talking again and getting to know each other, and he said, and by the way, I had moved from my apartment, and now I'm moving into a house. And I thought, okay. And he said, in fact, let me show you where it is. And I said, okay, fine. And we agreed that he would show me after dinner where the house was and show me the house. So after dinner, we went into the parking lot, and he said, wait a minute. I drove him up to, I went to my car and got in it, and I was had the motor running and waiting for him to get into his car. And he said, hold on, I'll go get my car. And he gets in his car, and he pulls up beside me. I thought, oh my God, it's the same car I had seen in that dream. The same model, the same make, the same color. I'm thinking, what does this dream mean? And then he said, follow me, I'll take you to the house. And I'm thinking to myself, never mind, I can find it. I know where you live. I was shown that in my dream. I was shown the house. I was shown exactly that car and where it was parked in that house. It had subterranean parking. I knew where he lived. And I followed him, And sure enough, it was the same house, same color, same location. When I got out of the car, I was scared. I thought, this is so eerie. What's going to happen? Why was I shown that dream for? So, anyway, it seemed to be okay. The only problem was when we got there, he didn't have the electricity turned on yet, so it was dark in there. We were talking about my moving in with him, and I agreed to, and after that date, I came home and I was telling my parents I'm going to be moving in with him, and my mother was very upset about that. And I thought, well, I don't want to disobey her, I don't want to make her angry, but I am thinking I am an adult person, and what if I didn't move in with him? What am I going to be missing? So when the electricity was on, I did move in with him. And my mother was okay with that. I would say within a couple of weeks' time, she kind of mellowed out about the situation. It took about that long. While we were living together, Bob came home one day and he brought a cardboard box, and he said, "Look, baby." Look inside. And I did, and I said, "What is it?" And I saw this tiny little animal. It was all white, in a ball, rolled up in a little ball, tiny. And I said, "What is it?" And he said, "It's a cat." And I said, "Oh, I never had a cat before." And I said, "Is it a male or female?" And he said, "It's a male." And he said, "I think I'll call his name Buster." And that was after a good friend of his. And I thought, okay, fine, Buster it is. And within about 2 weeks' time, I'm noticing that Buster's not responding to me, to my voice. And I said to Bob, I think he's deaf. And we took him to a vet, and sure enough, we found out that Buster was deaf. About a month later, Bob comes home from work, and he said, I sold my car and I traded it in for a bus conversion camper. And I thought, why did you do that? I liked your car. What was wrong with your car? And did ask him, and he said, well, I thought maybe that I'm going to be starting a new job where we're going to be going up and down the coast. He's going to be a salesperson, and it would entail traveling up and down the coast, and we could camp in the camper every other night, and then the other nights we would stay at a hotel or a motel. And I thought, okay, well, that sounds adventurous. Okay, fine. Then he said to me, how about tonight if you make a pot of spaghetti and we'll bring it with us, and we can heat it up in the camper, and we'll pull off the road and just have dinner out there, and we'll take a drive up the coast, PCH, Pacific Coast Highway. After he said that, my stomach felt queasy. There was something wrong. The words I heard were fine, they were logical. However, my stomach was not feeling right about the situation. And I just had to think a moment. And I couldn't put any logic to, again, why I was feeling those feelings in my stomach. So I thought, logically, it sounds okay, so all right, let's do it. And I made the spaghetti, and off we went. We took a ride that night. It was around 5 in the evening, and the sun was going down, and we were heading our way north up Pacific Coast Highway, and north. And it's been a while since I've been in Los Angeles. I had to get my bearings, and we were driving, and the sun was going down. It was turning dark, and after a little while, I hear the engine kind of slow down, and we're coming to a stop, and then Bob stopped the camper. But he sat there quietly behind the wheel, and I'm in the back of this camper conversion bus. By the way, that the inside had a bed in there, and a sink, and a little refrigerator, and a stove. So I'm sitting there thinking, what's happening now? Why are we just at a standstill? Everything just stood still. It's quiet, too quiet. And while I'm trying to understand what's going on now, a voice came into my head, and an angel guided me and told me what to do. And I thought, why? And then the angel got very insistent, said the same thing over to me, told me exactly what to do, and told me what he was going to tell me. Then I grabbed the handle to the door and I pulled hard and I jumped out. And I just stood there. It was pitch black, except for very little bit of light from the moon, and I could see that Bob had parked us, like there was a cliff there on the side of the camper. Bob did get out of the camper, made his way around to where I was standing, and he told me exactly what the angel told me he was going to tell me. And now I'm standing there stunned. I don't know what's going to happen next. It's just the two of us in the dark, and he's got the keys to the van, so I'm at his mercy. And after he told me exactly what the angel told me he was going to tell me, I asked him, "Are you okay?" And he said he'll be fine. And we got back into the camper and we drove back. So if it wasn't for my guardian angel, something terribly would have gone wrong. I might have been dead by then, back there at that time. He might have killed me. I don't know. But something very, very bad and wrong would have happened if I didn't listen to my guardian angel. So we still stayed together. Things were okay with us for about a year thereafter. And then I was finding hints around the house that he's been with other women, and I thought, this isn't going to work. So we did divorce. And let's see, after we divorced, I moved again back with my parents, but I took the cat with us. I definitely wanted that cat. And I took him, moved myself and him back to where my parents were living. So I thank you very much for watching this chapter. What I'm going to do for the next chapter is put a few of them together in one video. That'll be my very next chapter, because those chapters are going to be very short. So in that chapter, I have to read it. That chapter will be chapter 5 will be the next one, the very first one that I'll be talking about in my video, and it's titled Near-Death Experience. The next one right after that will be chapter 6, Improvements, and the next chapter after that, Help from This Realm, with a question mark. Okay, so you do not want to miss any of these videos that I'm putting out for you, because they are loaded with information about how our universe does function, and for the specific details about my story, you will find the link where to get my book at, and you don't want to miss that either. So I promise you do not want to miss any of these details that I'm giving here in these videos and also in my book. And again, in my book, there's a picture that I won't be sharing with you here. Okay. In my next video, I'm going to also show you a picture of Buster. I'm not going to show you pictures of people that I did not get their permission to show to you, so but I will show other ones that I do have the right to show you. So, okay, so look forward to those in the upcoming videos that I'll be putting out for you. I thank you again very much for watching, and please subscribe and like. That would be great, to my channel. Thanks again. Take care. I'll see you in the next video, chapter 5, chapter 6, chapter 7. all rolled up into one video for you, from me to you.